Hi, and thank you for visiting my channel. For more information, kindly subscribe and follow. Now let's get started. WWE's Adam Pearce recently sent a message for a 54-year-old veteran. The latter quietly bid goodbye to Monday Night Raw earlier this week. The December 30th, 2024 edition of Raw, the final episode on the USA Network, marked the end of Joe Tessitore's time as commentator of the flagship show. Subsequently, Wade Barrett also ended his Raw commentary run. Both men will be replaced by Michael Cole and Pat McAfee when the Red brand moves to Netflix on January 6, 2025. Raw General Manager Adam Pearce took to his Instagram handle to express his gratitude to Joe Tessitore with 2 selfies. Pocket squares crisp and straight without debate. Grateful for you, brother. Folded hands, Pearce wrote on the caption. Barrett and Tessitore will be involved with Monday Night Raw in some form, but behind the scenes. The 2 men will join former WWE champion Big E during the post-show for Raw's Netflix premiere. What does Triple H have in store for WWE Raw on Netflix premiere? Triple H has lined up as many as 4 blockbuster matches for the upcoming episode of Raw on Netflix premiere. Roman Reigns will face Solo Sikoa in a tribal combat match, with the Ula Fala necklace on the line. In another Bloodline-related match, Jey Uso will lock horns with Drew McIntyre, who mysteriously took out the YEET Master upon his return. Elsewhere on the show, Liv Morgan will defend her Women's World Championship against Rhea Ripley. The match was initially set to be contested under Last Woman Standing rules, but as of this writing, the stipulation is seemingly no longer in place. Other than that, the Final Testament and the Wyatt Six are advertised for a final showdown. Seth Rollins and CM Punk will headline the show as the 2 men clash for the first time in over a decade. It was an ordinary night on WWE Raw, or so it seemed at first. The lights were shining down on the ring, the crowd's energy was palpable, and the opening segment was underway. But behind the scenes, a major shift was taking place, one that would reverberate throughout the WWE universe for weeks to come. Adam Pearce, the WWE official and Raw authority figure, had just been informed of a quiet but impactful decision that would change the landscape of Raw. The 54-year-old veteran, whose legacy in WWE was cemented through decades of hard work and commitment, had quietly confirmed that his run on the flagship show was coming to an end. His decision had been announced earlier that day through a simple social media post, devoid of fanfare or pomp. It was a subtle goodbye, but one that had long been expected by many insiders and fans alike. Adam Pearce sat in his office backstage, staring at his phone as he scrolled through the messages and tweets about the news. His emotions were a mix of disbelief and acceptance. Pearce had always admired the veteran's work ethic and dedication to the business. But, more than that, he had forged a unique bond with the veteran over the years, one that transcended their roles as colleagues in the chaotic world of sports entertainment. As Pearce reflected on the news, the weight of it became more apparent. He had been a witness to this veteran's journey in WWE for many years. From his first stint as a dominant performer to his evolution as a backstage presence and mentor to the younger talent, this veteran had been a cornerstone of WWE's history. Now, as the veteran neared the end of his in-ring career, Pearce knew the company would face a new chapter, one that would require everyone to adapt. Pearce leaned back in his chair, running his hand through his hair. There was a heaviness in the air, an unspoken realization that WWE Raw would never be the same without the veteran's presence. Pearce knew the business better than anyone, and he understood that change was inevitable, but it didn't make the situation any easier to accept. His thoughts were interrupted by a knock at the door. It was one of his colleagues, a member of the creative team. The man stepped inside, holding a piece of paper with the latest rundown for the night's show. "Adam, I know you've seen the news," the man said, his voice somber. "It's hitting everyone pretty hard." Pearce nodded, glancing at the rundown but not fully focusing on it. "Yeah, it's a tough one. I knew it was coming, but it still stings. That guy was one of the best. He deserves a proper send-off, though." The creative team member agreed, though there was an air of uncertainty. We've got to figure out how we want to approach this. Do we acknowledge it on TV tonight? Pearce paused, his brow furrowing. We will. It's a big deal. The fans deserve to know, and honestly, I think it'll mean something for the other talents too. They need to see how much of an impact he's had on all of us. As Pearce stared at the rundown, he couldn't help but think back to his own journey within WWE. While he had never been a top-tier performer like the veteran, he had been around long enough to understand what it meant to be a part of the WWE family. The camaraderie, the sacrifices, and the shared passion for entertaining the masses. Pearce had seen it all, and tonight, he felt the weight of this change more than ever. He excused himself from his office and made his way through the backstage area, his mind racing with thoughts. As he walked down the halls, he passed several superstars, each seemingly preoccupied with their own preparations for the show. But there was an underlying sense of quietness among them, a shared understanding that something significant was happening. Pearce finally made his way to the veteran's dressing room. He knocked lightly on the door before entering. The veteran, who had just finished tying his boots, looked up with a soft smile, though there was a palpable sadness in his eyes. "Hey, Adam," the veteran greeted, his voice steady but laced with a quiet finality. "I just wanted to say thank you for everything." Pearce nodded, stepping into the room and closing the door behind him. "You don't need to thank me. It's all been an honor. We've been through a lot together." The veteran chuckled softly, his eyes distant for a moment. "Yeah, we have. I just want to make sure you know I'm not leaving WWE entirely. I'll still be around, just in a different role. But as far as my time in the ring goes, it's done. It's time." Pearce swallowed hard. He had known this moment would come, but hearing the veteran say it aloud made it real. "You've given a lot to this business. More than most can even comprehend. Whatever you do next, you've earned it." The veteran gave a half-smile, a glimmer of the old fire still burning behind his eyes. "I just hope I've left my mark. You know how it is. You give everything you've got, and you hope it matters." Pearce stepped forward, placing a hand on the veteran's shoulder. "It matters. It always will. You've done more for this company than anyone could ever repay." There was a brief pause before the veteran spoke again, his tone soft but resolute. "Take care of things here, Adam. The show goes on, and I know you'll be ready for whatever comes next." Pearce's voice cracked just slightly. "I'll do my best. But know that you'll be missed." As Pearce left the room, he took a moment to collect himself. The magnitude of the situation weighed heavily on him. This wasn't just the end of an era for one performer. It was the end of a chapter for WWE itself. The veteran had been one of the last remaining links to an earlier time, and now he was passing the torch. As Pearce made his way to the gorilla position to oversee the night's show, he couldn't shake the thought of the veteran's legacy. The crowd, as always, was loud and energized, ready for the action ahead. But Pearce knew that, in the midst of it all, something crucial was missing. The veteran's absence would be felt both in the ring and in the hearts of those who had come to know him as a fixture of WWE Raw. In the end, Pearce's reaction wasn't just about professional respect, it was about the unspoken bond between individuals who had dedicated their lives to the business. The veteran's decision marked the end of a significant era in WWE, but the lessons, the stories, and the memories would live on. And Adam Pearce, more than anyone, knew that it was the legacy of these men and women that truly defined the company.